Hi guys, so I'm going to do a Photoshop tutorial on skin retouching, and this tutorial will be split into three parts doing skin, lighting and colour and makeup. So I have three different ways of doing it. First I'm going to use the spot healing tool and just remove any blemishes or scarring in my skin that I do not want there. I'm not going to remove every single one or else it's going to take me forever, but I'll just do the bits that are the most noticeable because I have three different ways of doing it, and this is just like rough out. Also, the main key is to try and keep as much texture as possible because you don't want to wash it out with blur or anything like that. Personally, I like to keep it very natural. I don't like to reconstruct my face to what it isn't. And it really helps if you have a high quality photograph as well, like this one. This was shot on Canon 5D, so. Don't worry about getting it perfect or anything, it's just like, this is very rough out. I mean, spot healing tool isn't really to use for the full thing, as you can see, look, before and after. I haven't took a lot off, but the noticeable things. Okay, so I'm just gonna duplicate the layer, and I rename it Skin 1, so I remember which one, because I remember doing it three different ways. Oh, sorry, that's always happens. This will be Skin 2. Okay, so now I'm going to use the clone tool, and all I'm going to do, I'll just turn this opacity down so it's like not taking too much texture, and hardness you should turn it up because, like I said, if you want to keep it very natural, it's best to pick up the detail. So you just press Alt and select an area and highlight the areas that you want to like match the color tones to. Like I said, I don't really use clone tool too much, just on scarring areas like such. I've just copied onto where the skin is clear. Some people actually like to use this for the whole like skin retouching, but it's clone tool is very hard to use because there's a lot of mistakes usually. Sometimes it doesn't pick up the tone like it just has them. See, it's kept the texture, but yeah, there's a massive change in my skin now. That was overall. And it still looks very natural, there's still a lot of texture in there. But from distance you can't really tell, so. Okay, this is a third way of doing it, which I personally like to use a lot. I mean, there's no rule of saying how you should do it, but I find this the best thing. It does wash out texture, but it's really like, I just put the hardness up so it takes not too much blur away. And all I do is highlight the skin, Alt again, just highlight where you want, like the lighting. It's really good for lighting as well, I find. And just highlight and then just dab. I wouldn't say paint because I am painting, but I'll just dab areas, like highlighting under the eyes, getting rid of the darkness. And a lot of my lighting skills come from there, because you know, some people can't afford lighting, and Photoshop can do everything basically, so I wouldn't worry about that. Now you can see like there's a lot of texture still on my skin, but it's not blurred out. That's where people tend to go wrong. They just filter blur and rub out areas like their eyes that need to be like bold. It doesn't work that way. I think this is probably the easiest thing to just use these three steps at once. shadow areas might be the hardest thing to do because there's not a lot of light, but I pick up the main colour I can find and just mix the colours up and blend them together so that it's a lot lighter, but you can't tell. Just going back because I highlighted it too much. You've got to be very careful with the nose. Well, mine's small, so I have to like find the details. You should really highlight your forehead because if you're trying to make a realistic lighting on your skin without actual lighting, a lot of, like, as you can see at the top, there's a lot of shiny, which is best to, and like with the shadows on the side, it's best to make like a darkish light tone just to like get rid of the like shadows so that they're still there but they're not like bad. It might look a bit blurred, but later I'll turn the opacity down to get it to a level I like. Now you can see a massive difference in the skin. See, I'm just turning the opacity down and I'm just finding a point that I'm comfortable with. That's pretty good, I like that. Look, if you see closer, there's still lots of details. You can still see scarring, but they're not so noticeable, and it's more realistic to do it that way. You don't want to make yourself look fake or anything like that. I'm just fixing up the sides of my mouth and the chin area because I tend to have a lot of like marks there that cause shadowing. I don't like that. And I have a lot of red on my chin, so I'm just going to remove that. By the way, I did open another layer in case I wanted to turn it down. Always do things on separate layers, and if renaming the layer helps, then do that like I have done. I'm just zooming in, showing you there's still texture there. I really like that. That's how I would usually do mine. It didn't even take that long. Okay, so I'm gonna name this highlight, and as you can see, I'm just gonna go choose the dodging tool. The opacity, well, the exposure is 18%, which is very low. You don't want to go over the top, and I just like to highlight areas like my nose and my lips, just on the cupid's bow, because you know it makes your lips stand out, and just on my lips, so it'll give a nice highlight. And also on my tear ducts, I like to give a lot of highlight. It makes the eyes more bold. Just along my nose and above my eyebrows. Like I said, highlighting, it gives more of a realistic lighting if you don't have any. It's always something you should consider. You should consider there's a small difference, but it does make the picture a lot better. And the image still looks like me, just very lightly retouched. That's the key, to make it look very natural, and you'll want to still see texture in your skin. Okay, so that was a tutorial for skin retouch. Like I said, I will separate it into like lighting next. If anyone guys you would like to know that. I hope this tutorial helped in any way. Maybe it will help you improve on skin, because I know skin can be very complicated at times. And yeah, this is the overall image of skin, and I hope to see you on the next tutorial. I hope you really enjoyed. Please leave comments and subscribe. Thanks.